From world champions with multiple titles to martial artists so respected, they trained legends like Chuck Norris and Jackie Chan. In this list, you'll discover 10 incredibly talented fighters who, despite their extraordinary skill, never received the recognition they truly deserved. These are the most feared martial artists that nobody remembers. Number 10. Mark Dacascos. One of the most complete martial artists of his generation was Mark Dacascos. While most people were just discovering a sport during their teenage years, Mark Dacascos had already been training since childhood under the guidance of a family completely devoted to martial arts. He won karate and kung fu championships continuously from the age of 7 to 18, not local tournaments. Serious national-level competitions, which established him as one of the greatest martial arts prodigies of his generation in the United States. He holds a 4th-degree black belt in Fu and Hapkido and is also highly skilled in Muay Thai, Capoeira, and Wushu. In addition, he was a member of his university's gymnastics team, giving him an athletic fluidity that very few action stars have ever been able to match. His film career featured several performances that should have launched him into the top tier of action stars. Only the Strong in 1993, where he played a capoeira master in one of the genre's most authentic films. Drive, now considered a cult classic by martial arts fans. Crying Freeman, Brotherhood of the Wolf, a massive hit in France. And, above all, his role as Zero in John Wick, Chapter 3, where he stole entire scenes from Keanu Reeves with an effortless performance that made it clear he possessed decades more technical experience than anyone else on that set. The problem with Mark Dacascos was never his talent. It was his timing. He arrived just as the martial arts genre was beginning to decline, and by the time he could have reached the very top, the industry had already decided that its action heroes would be someone else. Number 9. Darren Shahlavi. Some fighters stand out because of their strength, others because of their speed. Darren Shahlavi had both. He began training in judo at the age of 7. At 14, he took up Shotokan karate. Boxing, kickboxing, and Muay Thai soon followed. But the moment that changed his life came when he was 17. He attended a Hong Kong fight choreography seminar taught by Donnie Yen. Shahlavi walked away with one clear goal. He was going to work in Hong Kong. And he did. In the early 90s, with very little money and no connections, he moved to Hong Kong and started from scratch as a stunt performer. To pay the bills, he worked as a nightclub bouncer and occasionally served as a bodyguard for Hollywood stars passing through the city. His breakthrough came when the legendary action choreographer, Yuan Wu Ping, cast him as the main villain in Tai Chi Boxer. From there, his career took off with films like Blood Moon and The Techno Warriors, before eventually making his way back to Hollywood, where he performed stunt work in 300, Watchmen, Blade, Trinity, and Mission Impossible. But his defining moment came in 2010, when he portrayed Miller in Ip Man 2, starring alongside his childhood idol, Donnie Yen. Their final fight is widely regarded as one of the most electrifying action sequences in the entire franchise. Shahlavi didn't just keep up with Donnie Yen. He matched him. Few martial artists left behind such a powerful feeling of what could have been as Darren Shahlavi. On the 14th of January 2015, the action film world lost one of its most authentic talents. And most people never even learned his name. Number 8. Olivier Gruner. Few action stars can boast a background as impressive as Olivier Gruner's. He served in the French Special Forces before becoming a world kickboxing champion. For him, fighting was never an act. It was part of his life. His path into Hollywood was as cinematic as his career itself. He put up a poster of himself at the Cannes Film Festival, and just 2 days later, a producer invited him to Los Angeles for a screen test. If this were a movie script, no one would believe it. With Angeltown, and especially nemesis Albert Pune's cyberpunk sci-fi classic, he established himself as a major presence in 90s action cinema, deserving far more than the industry ever gave him. He was physically imposing, technically legitimate, and completely convincing on screen. He had it all. What he never had was the breakout film that could launch him into the mainstream. His movies were solid within the genre, but unfortunately, the genre itself was beginning to lose ground. Number 7. Loren Avedon. Next on the list is a martial artist who turned his passion into an obsession. While many actors barely mastered a single discipline, Loren Avedon spent years perfecting Taekwondo, reaching a level that eventually opened the doors to action cinema and made him one of the deadliest martial artists of the 90s. Loren Avedon is a 9th-degree black belt and grandmaster in Taekwondo, as well as an 8th-degree black belt in Hapkido. His performances in No Retreat, No Surrender, 2 and 3, and especially The King of the Kickboxers alongside Billy Blanks and Keith Cooke, feature some of the most technically precise fight sequences in Asian American action cinema of that era. Experts in the genre agree that The King of the Kickboxers had the best fight scenes ever filmed at the time. However, the breakthrough career never came. Avedon himself admitted in interviews that he turned down a 3-picture contract with PM Entertainment because he believed something even better would come along. That contract eventually went to Don the Dragon Wilson, who used it to build the Blood Fist franchise. Number 6. Phillip Rhee. Next on our list is one of the most underrated martial artists in movie history. Phillip Rhee was so impressive that he started studying martial arts before he even learned to walk. No exaggeration, he began training at the age of 4. Simply incredible. He holds a 7th-degree black belt in Taekwondo, a 3rd-degree black belt in Hapkido, and a 1st-degree black belt in Kendo, with additional training in Wing Chun and boxing. His students have included the son of President Ronald Reagan and executives from Fortune 500 companies. When he realized Hollywood was never going to give him the roles he deserved, he made the decision that defined his legacy. He created them himself. He wrote, produced, and starred in Best of the Best in 1989, drawing inspiration from his own experience at the Asian Games. Distributed by Sony Pictures and featuring James Earl Jones and Eric Roberts, the film became a worldwide cult classic and spawned 3 sequels, all of which he directed and starred in himself. Best of the Best was selected by Fandango as one of the 15 most inspiring sports movies of all time, alongside Rocky. In 2015, film critic John Campea of AMC even named it his favorite movie of all time. And yet, Phillip Rhee's name is still rarely heard outside the martial arts movie community. He did everything right. He created his own opportunity when the industry refused to give him one. And time faded him away anyway. Number 4. Don the Dragon Wilson. Next on our list is a true combat sports legend. Don the Dragon Wilson was not just a movie star. He won 11 World Kickboxing Championships, establishing himself as one of the most dominant champions Hollywood has ever seen. 11 world titles, 3 weight divisions, 6 different organizations, 72 victories, 47 knockouts, world champion for 11 consecutive years. The Star System ratings even called him perhaps the greatest kickboxer in American history. With that resume, he arrived in Hollywood, helped by his friend Chuck Norris, and went on to star in the Blood Fist franchise and a long string of direct-to-video action films that made him the undisputed king of that market throughout the 90s. The problem was exactly that: the format. Don Wilson deserved the big screen. He deserved the same kind of treatment Steven Seagal received with Under Siege. He had more world titles than Seagal. He had more real fights than any martial artist in Hollywood. But the marketing never positioned him at that level. He remains the most decorated athlete ever to trade the ring for the lights of Hollywood. And also the most underused. Number 3, Cynthia Rothrock. We enter the top 3 with a woman who shattered every convention of action cinema. Before arriving in Hollywood, Cynthia Rothrock won 5 world championships in forms and weapons, demonstrating a level of technical mastery that very few martial artists, male or female, could match. Undefeated in more than 100 competitions, she became the first and only woman to win North America's #1 weapons championship while competing in the men's division, 7 black belts. An 8th-degree grandmaster, Hong Kong discovered her before Hollywood did. Her first film, Yes, Madam, alongside Michelle Yeoh, broke box office records across Asia in 1985. Over the following years, she became a superstar in the Asian market, while the American film industry was only beginning to notice her existence. When she finally arrived in American cinema, she was almost always cast in supporting roles or low-budget productions that failed to do justice to what she had already proven in Hong Kong. The American action genre, dominated by male stars, simply did not know what to do with a woman who was technically superior to most of the men she shared the screen with. Cynthia Rothrock was not forgotten because she lacked talent. She was forgotten because the industry lacked the vision to know what to do with her. Number 2. Richard Norton. We are getting close to the top spot with a man whom even Hollywood's biggest stars turned to when they wanted to learn how to fight. Richard Norton served as the personal trainer and fight coordinator for legends such as Chuck Norris, Jackie Chan, and many other major actors, earning a reputation that very few martial artists have ever achieved. By the age of 17, he had already earned his black belt in karate and become the head instructor for 500 karate schools throughout Australia. He later achieved the rank of 8th Dan in Zen Do Kai, the eclectic martial arts system he co-founded in Australia. But his life took a turn that no screenwriter could have imagined. He became the bodyguard of the biggest rock stars in the world: the Rolling Stones, ABBA, David Bowie, James Taylor, Fleetwood Mac, Rod Stewart. He even trained with Mick Jagger at 4 o'clock in the morning after concerts. For years, he traveled the world as the man responsible for protecting some of the most famous people on the planet. It was Linda Ronstadt who brought him to California as her personal bodyguard, where he met Chuck Norris. The friendship was immediate. Norris gave him his first film role in The Octagon in 1980, and from there, Norton built a career spanning more than 80 screen credits, working alongside Jackie Chan, Sammo Hung, Cynthia Rothrock, and later serving as a stunt coordinator on Walker, Texas Ranger, Mad Max, Fury Road, Dark Phoenix, and the Suicide Squad films. He was never the leading star. He was always the most technically accomplished person on every project he worked on. The man everyone in the industry respected, but very few people in the general public ever knew by name. On the 30th of March 2025, the action film world lost one of its most authentic talents, and most people never even learned his name. Number 1. Keith Cooke. And we've reached number 1. The least well known to the general public, but the one who best represents the injustice of this list. Some people believe that, at his peak, Keith Cooke threw some of the fastest kicks ever seen in Hollywood. Backed by 4 World Karate Championships, he proved that his talent went far beyond acting. In 1980, he traveled to China, where he trained 5 hours a day for 3 months, learning directly from Chinese masters on their own soil. He entered the tournament circuit in 1983, finishing second in forms and weapons at his very first competition, losing only to George Chung. The following year, he took first place. Between 1983 and 1986, he was named Competitor of the Year 3 times by Black Belt magazine. He became a 5-time grand champion at the U.S. World and U.S. Open Karate tournaments, won the 1987 Waco World Championship in Forms and Weapons, was inducted into both the Inside Kung Fu Hall of Fame and the Black Belt Magazine Hall of Fame, and was ranked number 7 among the 30 greatest masters of the last 30 years by Inside Kung Fu. Fred Weintraub, the producer of Enter the Dragon, once said of him, "Keith Cooke's feet are as fast as Bruce Lee's hands." On screen, he played Dakota in China O'Brien alongside Cynthia Rothrock, Prang in The King of the Kickboxers, Reptile in Mortal Kombat, and Sub-Zero in Mortal Kombat: Annihilation. The problem with Keith Cooke was never his skill. It was that he always arrived as the second or third choice. He auditioned for the role of Liu Kang in Mortal Kombat, but the part went to his friend Robin Shou. He auditioned for leading roles that ultimately went to other actors. His talent elevated every scene he appeared in, but he was rarely given a scene that truly belonged to him from beginning to end. 10 names, 10 careers that deserved far more than they received. Let me know in the comments which names on this list you had never heard of and which one surprised you the most. Thanks for watching this video. If you enjoyed it, there's another one waiting for you right here. And don't forget to share the video and leave a like, it really helps the channel.